Hey skaters, how's everyone doing? It's TJ with Roller Skate Universe, and I had the opportunity to review the vanilla a la mode. As far as I'm aware, at this time, I'm one of the first people to actually have it and rack up a considerable amount of hours on it. And I've had it for probably about a week now. I've put over 20 hours on it already, and about 4 or 5 of those hours are competition hours. If y'all already know, I have a tendency to put a lot of strain on my equipment that most skaters don't do. So we're gonna go over it real quick and discuss how it's holding up and some of the key features and pros and cons of this. Just give me 1 second. All right. Sorry about this. All right. Had to close that. Here we go. All right. So I opted for these in the mocha, which is brown. My lighting's not the greatest. Let's see if I can adjust that some. There we go. All right. So the lighting doesn't do this justice, and presumably neither does the camera. But this thing is sweet. I like it. It's got the mocha here. It's kind of got a rental vibe to it, but it is actually not a rental color. It's actually a few shades darker. This is a synthetic suede, although I got to be honest, I'm pretty sure it's a real suede because the way it fits, the way it wears, the scuff resistance, everything, it's impeccable. And as far as the wear resistance and everything. So I got mine. They sell this in a boot only, so you can get just the boot if you want. For $149 off of VNLA.com. You can get this just the boot only. It's available in about 4 or 5 different colors. Also, it's available as a full package. Hold on 1 second. All right. 1 second. Hold on. Sorry about this. I got stuff going on with the dogs. There we go. All right, there we go. Now I'm back. Sorry about that. I keep having to walk away. All right, there we go. I promise it's the last time I walk away. All right. So this thing is really sweet. One of the downsides is it doesn't have that I noticed is that it doesn't have like a lace loop. But I'll tell you what, there's an upside that if you don't lace this up all the way and you're not using these hooks, the tongue is actually tapered. You can see how it actually flares out and it's wider right here. So this edge right here, how it's wider, actually keeps the tongue from sinking down in and also rotating, which is really good. A very nice amount of padding. It's not too bulky like, say, the Rock GT50s and all that are just nothing but pillows. But a good amount of padding, especially compared to some of the other boots in this price range. I really do. I kind of like the aesthetic of the print inside here. It's all right. It's not my what I would personally go for, but it's dope. These are in men's sizes. Okay, so if you look here, men's 10, ladies 11. Now the parfaits are actually in ladies sizing. So just bear that in mind that ladies, you do have to go down one size from whichever one you want for one of these. You can get the boot only for $149, or you can get the full setup that usually includes RC medallion wheels and the Gorilla plate, which has a lifetime warranty on it. It's a 5-degree nylon plate, and it's got a lifetime warranty on it for $199. The big deal here is that the Gorilla Plate, for the first time ever, is now being made in white. It has always been made in black. So no matter what vanilla combos you got, they always had a black Gorilla Plate. This is the first time that they're doing a plate, a Gorilla Plate, in a different colorway. Also, there are clear cushions on there. That's a new thing. That's a pretty big deal. So these are available in about 4 or 5, maybe 6 different colors. I got the mocha ones. I really liked them. I got the boot only, $149 over at VNLA.com. Now let's discuss a little bit. Let's discuss the construction methods. It's non-stitched. I know that a lot of people are like, if it's not stitched, don't buy it, and that used to be true, but most of the other manufacturers, including but not limited to Rydell, aren't even stitching the uppers on a lot of their stuff. Even their high-end stuff that the boots only retail for 400 plus, they're still not stitched. So there's really no tangible reason or difference to get something with a stitched upper at all. So this has a simulated wood, or rather leather outsole, but it is plastic, and it is a extremely hard plastic. These are made to compete against the lollies and the jacks. It does have a wider toe box. If you can see this is a wider toe box. So for my wide toe box of my foot, these things are the king. Really rugged appearance to the mocha one. The other ones, they're more like boardwalk type of colors. They're more of the pastel earth tones and things like that. Let's see. It is double stitched in the heel stay. I don't know how well you can see this, but we're going to try and adjust our light. These are double stitched up the heel stay. Everything else is single stitched, but you shouldn't have any issues there. Really tough grommets for the laces. I really wish personally, and I kind of see this as a little bit of a downside, but it shouldn't be a deal breaker at all. I really wish that these lace hooks were just a little bit tougher, because it did have a little bit of an issue with them bending on impacts. But other than that, it's been great. The upper has held really well to the boot for the most part. I haven't had any issues. I did get one to separate a little bit, but it's not going to go any further. I promise it's not. But here's the thing. I'm actually doing boot spins on like the side of my boot on these things. So unless you're doing that on these, you really literally have nothing to worry about. These do fit about a quarter to a half size larger than allegedly than posted. I've yet to tell, because this thing says it's a 10, and it fits very much like a true 10 that you would get from Rydell. If you're finding that the Moxie lineup, lollies and jacks, are too narrow, keep in mind those are made on a narrow last, but you'd like something that fits a little more realistically for a human-sized foot, either go with the boardwalks or these. And the color combos and the price on these is definitely a clear-cut winner compared to, because you get a comparable, if not better, looking and skating boot. But you also get it for a fraction of the cost. Of course, Vanilla has been around since 2005. They released their first boots in 2006. That is a brand that was specifically created by a jam skater for the jam skating market, and has since branched out and ventured into other types of skating setups, everything from derby to outdoor and lifestyle skates. We also do stuff for rhythm packages and stuff like that. So let's talk about this plate here. Please don't get your hopes up about the plate, because this plate actually came off of a parfait, and I put it on here. I mounted this to it because I had it laying around, and it seemed like this would be a good setup for me to just chuck around outdoors and not really feel bad about if I break anything. So far, like I said, I've got close to 30 hours on this. 5 of which being competition usage. And it's actually proven to hold up really, really well under the types of stress that I put them under. And I implore anybody else to beat on them harder. Please do. As far as scuff resistance has been impeccable. And this color really shrugs off any dirt. You would never tell that they've ever been anywhere but inside of a rink. So, I mean, hats off to them. Honestly, micro suede or whatever. This is real suede. There's no way this isn't. Either technology has gotten so good about making simulated suede, and I just didn't notice, or they're really underselling their product a lot and just saying it's micro suede or whatever. But this is the real deal. So I like it. You have this cool inset right here made of this like rubbery plastic stuff. I like that. I believe we carried that over from the I think that's on the V line. I don't know. It's been a little bit since I had a V line in my hands. But the sole on this, if you've skated the V line, the sole on this is much stiffer. It's much stiffer than the V line. Much stiffer. Entirely different material from the V line. So it's less subject to twisting and stuff like that. Not that most skaters would ever notice. But yeah, no, it's been good. It's been a solid workhorse. And this light is not really doing these things justice at all. It's actually more a chocolate brown, like a milk chocolate brown. Yum. And I really do. I like these a lot. And I'm not a high top skater, but for a high top, I would recommend these over and over again. And so far, they've won over every person that I've showed them to. Now, last year, I had prototypes of these right here, made in this like mustard yellow, mustard yellow. And this was the interior that was on them, and it was okay. But the finished product on these is so much nicer. You do have a considerable amount of padding in here, right here, and right here. This is a boot that, since it's not PVC, it's actually going to break in a bit and mold to the foot. There's also a toe cap inside of here, and you can, if you do ever get around one and you feel one, there's a toe cap that stiffens it right in here. Now, usually this isn't a deal breaker for most people. But I'll tell you what, this is what's great about this, that if you do skate outside and you have an impact against something, you don't bang and crush your toes in or push your toenails back or any crazy stuff like that. It's actually pretty good for that, especially if you're outdoor skating, because it's just a little layer of protection right here that most skates don't have. And this thing is hard. So, choose wisely. Stiffness, I get a lot of questions about the stiffness on these wherever I go, because for some reason people are looking for stiff boots now. Realistically, the whole thing about a boot being stiff, giving ankle support, is the biggest lie ever. Unless you're doing a twisting motion, you do not, or you're doing very high jumps, you do not need to. A stiff boot is not going to provide any support at all. Now, the only reason that a lot of the art skaters go for a stiffer boot in the upper, up here, everything above the sole, and they're looking for support, is because if they come down from a high jump, that can actually keep them from buckling their knees and ankles too far forward and possibly breaking an ankle. Okay, we'll do another video another time on support and how it works. And there's a reason I air quote support, because a lot of people are jumping on the high top bandwagon right now, and everything they talk about is support this, support that, and ankle support and stuff like that. Look, you're going to get probably even more ankle support out of a low top with wide wheels, and that's because of the lower center of gravity and the wider track. which actually prevents you from rolling an ankle, even on a lower boot, even on a boot cut below the ankle. And those are actually out there. Now, getting back to this thing, I didn't like the stock insoles, so I actually replaced the stock insoles with the stock insoles from yet another vanilla product, which I believe were juniors. I like the stock insoles they put on all the low tops, but I do not like the insoles they put on their high tops. So as soon as I replace those, my arch support, because I do have a little bit of plantar fasciitis and I do have kind of high arches, it does help a lot. One thing, speaking on insoles, completely unrelated, but while I'm here, I might as well touch on it. Okay, as far as insoles, hey, using an insole to try and make a boot smaller around your foot is counterintuitive, because raising your foot up inside is not going to decrease the distance around your foot. It's not going to happen. It's not. The only thing it's going to do is make the top press down on your foot. Now, that could work to keep your foot from sliding around, but here's the thing. You have multiple tendons and a buttload of arteries and veins and things like that, capillaries in the top of the foot. And what happens is when you press the top of your foot up against the upper, what happens is you actually cut the circulation off, maybe not completely, but just enough to where you actually start losing sensation in your feet and things like that. And also you cut the circulation off for the rest of your body quite a bit. Now, it's relatively speculative, but the thing is if you cut blood flow off to any part of the body, you actually do reduce the amount of circulation to other parts of the body because it's all in circulation with each other. So one thing that I could recommend to not have to do that is just get a boot the right size. Your skate size is not your shoe size. Your skate size is not your shoe size. Seriously, go get fitted if you can. Some of these manufacturers started to get smart, and what they're doing is they're actually publishing size charts based on your feet length on a ruler. And that is something Vanilla had actually done with the Parfaits. If you look on the Parfait sizing guide for those boots in particular, they have a breakdown by length, by inches of how big each size is. Stand on a ruler and boom, now you know your size. You don't have to say, well, I wear an 8, when realistically in that skate you wear a 5 or a 6, and then you have to double and triple up on insoles to try and push your foot up against the top of the upper. It's not good. The other thing is, this is so generously padded. A lot of these boots, they're so generously padded in the tongue area that when you pull your laces super tight, you actually don't constrict blood flow to the foot. But it still doesn't matter. If the boot doesn't fit, the boot doesn't fit. It's always best. I've been skating since '85. It's always, always best, without a doubt, unquestionably, to get a boot that just fits, period. You take up all the dead space you can. You shouldn't have any dead space around the foot anywhere. On top of the foot, yeah, because you can tighten it down. But if you got dead space anywhere inside of here, the twisting forces and pushing forces and torsional loads generated just by skating, cornering, spinning, footworks, jumps, hard edging, all of that. Once you start sliding around, you start generating fatigue against yourself because your body naturally tries to compensate while pushing out with a foot. You're simultaneously trying to push in. Now you've tensed an entire muscle group up and down your leg and possibly even up one or both sides of the back. Now you've affected the entire body and you've actually created tension on your entire body trying to compensate for a poorly fitting boot. Small question, is there room inside the boot for modifications, e.g. adding counters like orthotics? Yes, absolutely. There's tons of room for orthotics, especially if you're not a wide foot. But yeah, the upper is actually pretty tall. If you notice, this toe box and everything's actually pretty tall, and everything else is kind of tall inside. There's a lot of room in here. So if you wanted to add orthotics, or say you wanted to go with super feet yellow hockey insoles, say if you do have high arches and stuff like that, which are some of the best, yeah, you got tons of room for that. Uh, these are, I mean, it's $150 boot. Um, Honestly, I really like it for $150 for anything. The color's good. The construction is actually pretty durable. And I'm sorry, but nothing else at this price range for $150 boot. You're not getting jack. You're not getting anything for $150 that compares with this at all. And that's, I'm gonna leave the whole thing about me skating for them and everything else. I'm gonna be as unbiased as possible. I'm not a high top skater. I've had tons of them. I did a full decade on them, and it was whatever. And I did 20 years on over 20 years on low tops, and then had a few high tops over the last 3 years. But this one I do like a lot. I skated a parfait for over a year and a half and couldn't kill it. Finally, just decided to take it off so I could use the lower end on this boot when it came in to test. And I'm thoroughly impressed with it. I really am. For $150, go out and get you one of these. Go out and get you one of these. The color they make it in is freaking. I'm telling you, the colors are dope. Especially this mocha one. This thing's banging. Like seriously, like I love this. I mean, I can't complain. For $199 for 50 more bucks, you get a plate, wheels, bearings, and that plate's under a lifetime warranty. So if you break anything on that plate, you're set. You just email them over at VNLA and say, hey, look, this is what's going on with the plate, and they take care of you. And I've seen it, and I've done that for customers, and at my local rink that I work at, and they are very quick to respond to customer issues, and I mean very fast. Let's see, my Godfather skates 9.5 size, too big, but I them. Would this size 9 be as big? The 9 is going to be about where the 9.5 is. So I mean, yeah, you could get away with the 9 on these for sure. Let me see if I can't do a little weird lighting tricks to give y'all a view of these, and QVC style, Home Shopping Network style. We're going to do the hand thing and all this. And we're hand model for you guys. Oh, ooh, yeah. No, seriously though, if you can, get a set of these. Like, if you're in the high tops, if you want a cheap set of boots or whatever that you can beat up and they'll take it, but if anything happens, you're not out a ton of money, get these. Just stop playing and get a pair of these things. Really, because I wouldn't lie to you. I haven't yet. I'm not gonna. I would wholeheartedly take them outside. Scuff resistance, wear resistance, etc. Up here on the front, I had a couple of instances where I dragged it, on accident, where I was, avoiding a crash or something like that, or I was spinning on the plug, and this was pretty dope. This is pretty dope. All right, hold on. Let's go to the callers. What do we got? All right, I got Jarek Simp in here. I'm a true men's 9.5. So am I, actually. Believe it or not, I am size 9.5 on every chart I've been on. Every chart I've been on has been size 9.5 or equivalent. What I mean by equivalent is the Adeas. I believe it was a 285. It's been a while, but yeah, all the Euro metric brands, I'm like 285 or whatever, centimeter or whatever. So, or millimeter. Rydell's 9.5 on every device they got. on every printout I've done, I'm 9.5 across the board. For Bonts, typically, because Bonts are a little bit bigger because of the ergonomic footbed shape in the front, I'm usually a 9. Let's see. Yeah, these are a 10. And I got a little tiny bit of space. Probably about almost a size, almost a full size. And as we all know, a full size is approximately a 1/4 inch ish, somewhere in there. So my skates are always too big or too small. One thing I would recommend for that is to go with a brand that or model that does half sizing, and just go there. I'm the same way though. When I like these brands and stuff like that, and these models of skates that only come in full sizes, I wind up in the same conundrum every time. I wind up getting a 9 and it's too small and it kills my foot. And that's not a good thing as somebody with type 1 diabetes and plantar fasciitis and bunions and a bunch of other stuff. My feet are messed up. So, what I try to do is find something in a model brand, both, that comes in a half size. If I can't, usually I go up and I just suffer with sliding around. If I do a 10, it's too big. A 9, it's too small. How do you know you have a proper fitment in a boot? This is coming from Ricardo Lopez. How do you know you have a proper fitment in a boot? Proper fitment in a boot, honestly, I like to put my foot inside of it. And then what I like to do is I like to tilt up on the front end like this and then push my foot down into the front without bundling up my toes. I want my toes to be straight. And then what I do is I check behind my foot with my foot tilted to see how much, to stick a finger in the back or more and see how much dead space I got behind my foot. The goal is to have absolutely none, but at most, maybe one finger of room in between the back of your heel. If you can get down in there, the back of your heel and the back of the heel cup while your foot's like this and without scrunching up your toes. You want to make sure that you're not moving around in there at all. If you have to choke the hell out of the top of your foot like this by tightening, giving yourself a shoe wedgie in order to keep yourself from slipping around, that boot's already too big. Oh, another thing. Most of the times people are like, it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable. They want comfortable skates out of the box. Here's something an old friend of mine taught me. Y'all might know Fred Benjamin, a.k.a. Doc Skate. Him and I, a couple years ago, we were having a conversation on the phone. And he says to me, if a boot is comfortable right out of the box, it's already too big. He's kind of right about that, especially with competitive level boots. Competitive speed boots, competitive art boots, anything super high end, if it's already comfortable, it's already too big. Because when it does break in and it does stretch, now it's going to be massive. And you want to start as close to the foot as possible without actual tangible pain. I hope that answered that question. Who we got next? Jarek Simp. I was told to go for a Rydell 8.5 and a D width. Okay, here's the thing about the widths in Rydell's size. A lot of their stuff they're doing on different last shapes they got going under different names. I'm pretty sure the last that they're talking about is the Beta last, which is a BD last. It is a split width last. It's a B width in the heel, and then it's a D width in the front. So here's the thing. When you order a lot of the Rydells in a medium width or just a standard width, which is still going to be medium, unless you're buying Moxies, you're going to wind up with a boot traditionally made in a D width because it's going to be made on the Beta last. They found that works for most foot types. There is no one size fits all as far as construction methods, shapes of lasts, and everything else from any of these manufacturers. The best they can hope for is to cross their fingers and hope they have a one size fits most last. Now that we've discussed lasts, let's talk about what they are. Okay, a last is that foot-shaped mold that they put everything on and build the boot around it. So what they do when they build these things in different lasts or different widths is they pick a mold in a different width or a different size or something like that, and then they build it around that one. Now that boot is built wider or narrower. The Moxies are all, according to their website, for the last 4 or 5 years, have always been made in basically a women's last in the traditional sense. They're made narrower. They're made on a narrow last. So a lot of people that are having issues with their pinky toes getting caught up right here and getting scrunched and pushed under their foot, they bought a boot that was too narrow. I understand there's like this big aesthetic thing. I understand that. But look, if it doesn't perform, it doesn't perform. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. Best thing you can do is that if it's too narrow, order it in a wider width. All right, who do we got? Ula, Hula Hoop, and Flow. Hey, question. How is the heel cup? All the Moxies end up causing plantar fasciitis for me. That was the knee slapper. Moonlight Rollers and Kaya have a wide boot. I love, and they work. How is the heel cup in the vanilla? Well, I'm happy to report it's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. In fact, it's actually better than the V line. So if you have any experience with the V line, which was a hot seller for a while, and that was one of the two breakthrough boots that vanilla had for the high top market, this is stiffer. Okay, it's great, but it's not overbearing. It's pretty dope, dude. Get one of these. 149. Try it. Thank you, Hula Hoop, and Float. Also, unless a custom fit like with Harlick's custom Rydell's. Look, hey, Harlick's custom Rydell's, Golden Horse. I don't know why, but okay. Harlick's custom Rydell's, you're looking at 800 plus just to get your foot in the door. Especially Harlick's, it's going to start off at like 1100 just to get your foot in the door before you add any options at all. That's just for a base model like the Competitor or Competitor Plus. You're already talking $1,100 with no features. Blank white or blank black boot, no orthotic, no lift, no nothing, no increased heel, no cork, no nothing, no shearling, nothing. Look, this is $149. Give it a shot. If you don't like it, the best thing I can say is the resale value should be pretty darn good on them. And if you do beat them up, you can always buy another if you love it. If you don't, okay, hey, you know what? Thank you for trying. Jarek Simp, thanks for the information. No problem, brother. I got you. Ula, Hula Hoop, and Flow. Those obviously would be fine for the good old heel, but our vanilla's a bit wider than, say, a Moxie Lolly. Absolutely, because Moxie Lollies and Jacks are made on a narrow last. And that's not like we're narrower by default but they're narrower by design. They do that on purpose because women's feet are typically narrower. And that's what that whole brand started off as. So yeah, these are on the wider side. If you need the boot on a wider side, like the Kayas, and I do know that the Kayas run wider. Gee, thanks, Power Slide. And the Moonlights, which are basically 80 different brands. It's the same skate from like 80 different brands. It's just one generic boot, and they slap their name on it. Yeah, it's going to fit like that. That's some facts. Yup, money, you bet. I got you. You're welcome. Rolls right. What do you expect the limit of the skate to be? My minimum build recommendation. Currently use the vanilla V-line for more stable moves halfway to freestyle. So are you doing broken ankle stuff? This is going to be a little bit more supportive than the V-line without breaking down nearly as much. I've had about 3 V-lines, and they broke down pretty quick. This one's a little stiffer. Hey, the other thing, the support of having this stiffer sole, the V-line sole, if you take the plate off, it twists and flex a lot of it. This one won't really do that anywhere near as much. It's a completely different material. Yes, it's still plastic, but it's a different grade, and it's actually got some stiffness to the bottom that'll help keep it from twisting around with or without plate. But of course, you know, when you put a plate on there, it's going to stiffen the whole package up. So I'd give it a shot. Hey, $149 for just the boot. What do you got to lose? Ula, Hula Hoop, and Flow. All right, I love that. Thank you for trying. Of course, Anthony Hill. Is the boot you're holding stock, or did you make modifications? No, this boot is completely stock, and I've only got a 1 week on it. The only thing I did is I put a insole in it from a Vanilla Junior. Oh, hey, yo, while I have it out, because I didn't realize you could see the toe prints. How do you know you have a good fitting boot? This is how. My toe prints go right up against the edge. If the edge of your toe prints are like back here, your boot's too big. But see, they go right up to the edge, meaning there's like no dead space in there. If you can see that, there's no dead space in there. That's how you know. Easiest way to tell if your boot's too big, honestly, besides doing the whole tilt it up and slide a finger in the back thing, take your insole out and look at the footprint. And if you got like a massive space right in here, yeah, where it's just plain and it's untouched, your boot's too big. Even if you feel like, oh, it fits and I can do stuff, yeah, you can do a lot more. And let me tell you why that's an issue. Because if your boot's too big, your plate's going to be too big. If your plate's too long, guess what? It's a lot of work to swing that extra length around. And you're actually shooting yourself in the foot when trying to learn stuff. Now, when you go with a shorter boot that actually fits correctly, and you wind up with a shorter wheelbase, and your axles are actually where they're supposed to be instead of way out here under your toes, because they shouldn't be, then your natural pivot points, your body, i.e. the ball of the foot, are going to be what controls it. You're going to actually have a faster snap and response. Turn-ins are going to be quicker. Control's going to be increased for spins, edging, footwork, all of it. You're going to literally cut your work down in half, maybe even more if you're really oversized on your boots. Hula hoop and flow. Thank you for answering my question. That makes a lot of sense. Yes, yeah, no problem. Thanks, Power Slide. Yep, Kaya. So Kaya's a new brand. It's Power Slide's startup in the quad skate market. Started about 2 years ago, maybe 3. But Power Slide has actually been around for well over a decade. And I was into the aggressive inline market in the late 90s. And in the late 90s, early 2000s, they kind of created a few brands that you might be familiar with that manufacture a lot of stuff. I believe USD might be one of them. And Shadow, I believe they manufactured Shadows. If anybody here was into the aggressive inline market, that those things were freaking revolutionary. Now the Shadows are still around, but they're rebranded as something else called Dukes. I don't get the name either, and I don't expect you to. But and they're actually branded for recreational and outdoor skating, as opposed to aggressive inline. Of course, they do use UFS, universal frame system mounting, which is exactly what Kaya did for their quad boots. And they call it the DCS. It's actually UFS, which is what the aggressive inline market has been using for almost 20 years. And they just decided to do it with some plates. So smart move on them, because you only have 2 bolts in the center underneath each truck that actually hold everything in. Now you have the option to use traditional mounting hardware, T-nuts, whatever you want to use on the mounting wings if you want. And me personally, I would do that. But hey, you know what? I really do want to try the Barbie patines. I know. I really want. I really feel like that would be like the first really, truly well-engineered park skate. And that's because they're using trickle-down technology. Hold on, before you guys kill me about it. They're using actual trickle-down technology from over 20 years of manufacturing aggressive inline skates on the quad boots. So they're using the same slider materials they're using on their inline frames and other UFS aggressive inline frames, the stiffness levels, everything, the construction methods are built like an aggressive inline boot. So I don't park skate, but if I did, I want to get my hands on a set and try it, because I feel like that would offer the best experience. All right. I love your lives. Thank you always for the information. Thank you so much. Let's see. And I'm not a shop or anything. I will admit, like, I'm sponsored. I compete. I compete every Monday out in Dallas, Texas, all summer long, every Monday, which is like a 5-hour drive for me one way. but I still compete. I've been competing in jam skating since 2002, 2003. And I did take like 5 years off, but I came back a while ago. I've been back for about 5 years now. Um, and I do that. I do dabble in the obvious rhythm skating, but my mainstay is actual jam skating. Although my forms are different, I do abstract jam skating, and I created that back in like 2002. And yeah, it's different, and nobody quite gets it. It goes over people's heads all the time. I'm used to it. Let's see. I'm still. Anthony Hill says I'm still trying to find plates for my V lines. I'm still rolling on the stock plates for now. Do you feel plates make a difference in your skating? Oh man, that's a great question. Yes and no. I'll show you something if you give me 1 second. I'll answer this. So I got a bunch of stuff over here, a lovely bunch of coconuts, if you will. I'm gonna pull up a bunch of different stuff. Okay, here we go. I got a sunlight here. It's a 10 degree. It's whatever. I got these parfait plates, and it's a 10 degree, and it's like whatever. Here's the thing. They're both 10 degree. You would think they're both going to handle the same. They're not. Just because what are the cushion cups made out of? What the hardness are the bushings, everything else. Yes and no. And here's where it starts to get interesting. Now these Pilot Falcons, these are a 16 degree, just like the roll, almost all the roll lines, which are 16 degrees. Some of them have split, which is 16, 18. But yes, this is where it starts to make a difference right in here. If you want deeper cornering, you want tighter loops. If you do loops, if you incorporate any kind of actual loops in your skating, it will make it a lot easier. So this is where it starts to actually pay for itself. People saying that by default you have to have an aluminum plate. People that say that don't quite know what they're qualified on, and here's why. And I mean this in the nicest way. That's because I've had some nylon plates I couldn't break. I've met some that I tried to break. I went and skated on them for nothing more than the sheer thrill of trying to annihilate them. I mean, I jumped on everything. I'd slam my heels into the floor, everything. Took them outside. I had a set that I ran over with a car. I don't know if you guys knew about that. I think I might have put it in a video, but I had a pair I ran over with a car, with a truck when I still had my truck. I had a, not that it was a very big truck, but I had a Honda Ridgeline. And I took a set of sunlights, actually, and I ran them over with my truck. And then I put them on and skated them. And I didn't even bend an axle on them. So if people tell you you get a lot of the older skaters that say, hey, look, it's aluminum or nothing at all. If you ain't got aluminum, you ain't got shit. Here's the thing about that, okay? A lot of those guys are presumably my age. I'm 40. And they come from a day where back in the day, nylon plates were total shit. Nylon plates back in the day, for the most part, were almost all garbage. Nylon plates, the grades of nylons that were used in them, and the construction methods, the designs, the shapes, everything sucked. And they would crack, they would dry out, they would get brittle. I'm looking at you, Laser. Yeah, Laser. The nylon plates that are so great, yet in the manual, you got to soak them for a year in water. Every year, you have to soak them in water for about an hour or overnight just to keep them from getting brittle and breaking. But those things are so awesome. And they still make them, and you still get guys from back then swearing by them. So there must be something there. The Gorilla Plate is a lifetime warranty. Honestly, the only thing I could ever find breaking on them was the trucks. And usually it was because people were doing some wild shit on them. They were doing like handstands and backflips, coming down hard on them in a wrong spot, and it'd break the pivot pin. I can't talk. So a lot of those old guys would be like, yeah, you know, if you got nylon, you know, if you ain't got aluminum, you ain't got shit. You got to get an aluminum plate. Let me tell you, there's a placebo effect with buying expensive skates. You see it every time. Get these guys that want the 3200s, they get them. Why do they improve afterward? Was it the skate that did it? No. The only reason they improved is because once they got it, then all of a sudden they felt like it was a realistic idea to start practicing the way they should have in the first place. And then they get better and then they go, yeah, it was the skates. No, it wasn't the skates. It's because you were finally willing to practice like you should have been the whole time. So skates don't make the skater. Aluminum skates don't always mean shit. I've seen a bunch of aluminum plates break and bend, and guess what? Y'all heard of the Moda Boss plate? It was basically vaguely built on this. But see, here's the thing. These don't really have the problems that the Boss does because they fixed it. But the Moda Boss plates, that's aluminum, and that's 7000 series. But guess what? They all crack and break right in here. They all do. I haven't seen one come to my bench yet that wasn't cracked to hell up here. And you would think, gee, that's a badass plate. And that's aluminum. It shouldn't do that. You're damn right it shouldn't. But they do. OG Pro lines all crack up here. I bet you didn't know that. And that's like one of the pinnacles of plates that everybody that, you know, gave God status to. So you know what? Nothing's without its faults. Here's where it gets interesting. I got a 45 degree Avenger 45 DA45 magnesium. Now this is when some stuff makes a hell of a difference. Because if you want to turn, this is your trajectory angle right here. As opposed to a 10 degree, where your trajectory angle is going to be something like this. The other one's going to be like this, which means this steers deeper without leaning half as far. So this is where it makes a difference. This is if you really want to do donuts on one foot. Seriously, if you want to do a U-turn on one foot, that's the one you do. With all four wheels on one foot on the ground, and you just want to do a damn donut. And I've done it. I've done 4-wheel loops and just sat there and did donuts on one foot, and 2-3 loops with all 4 wheels on one foot on the ground. That's your man right there. And this is a sub 200 category plate. You can get this for around 200-ish. Sure Grip makes it. Made in the USA. Gotta love that. Give that shit a check, man. If you don't want to do that, you can go with the 10 degree Avanti mags. That's a dope plate. All right, kind of off topic, but how do the vintage Renault Vanathane perform? Just ordered a set. All right, hold on a sec, bro. I got you. Here's a couple right here. Some brand new ones. Right here, brand new. Never even had bearings in them. All right, let's see what we got. How do they perform just order set? Well, let me show you something. I'll see if I got these because I love pulling stuff out and playing show and tell with y'all. Check this out. It's show and tell time with TJ. Hey, if you haven't now, please subscribe, share this stuff, dude. I put this information out for people, honestly, that wouldn't otherwise care. Really, like, if you can do me one solid, like, share this stuff and everything else. Because I've been doing this for like 2 years, and really, like, I got like 1,200 followers. So I don't know if it's the coffee talk that everybody likes, the pillow talk and conversations that everybody likes, or what. But all right, check these out. Vintage Fomac Quitites. These came out in the 50s. Now this set might not be from the 50s, but at its newest, this is at least the early 70s. All right, here we go. Boom. All right. Size-wise, this is about a 56, 57-ish. Right off the bat, Vanathane Reynolds are a 55 millimeter diameter. The width, I believe, without breaking out my calipers, it's going to be probably about a 33, 34 mil-ish. The width is going to be the same on both. Now, let's compare old school to really old school. Clay wheel. Vanathane, clay wheel, whatever. We all know that this here, these are the cancer wheels. Everybody knows. Everybody that doesn't know, Pay attention to this part right here. What makes a real Vanathane dance wheel and real Vanathane art wheel or rental wheel a real Vanathane one? Well, a lot of people would say it's the stamps on the back, the 3-digit, 3-character codes that are stamped on the back. But, you know, the new Sure Grip ones are doing that. Okay. So what is it? 20 to 25% powdered asbestos is inside these. They put powdered asbestos in them. It cut the wear down a lot because these things had to do thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours a year with skaters who don't know how to skate. They'll drag their wheels, whatever. So they had to resist flat spotting. And they thought, what's super, super tough? And they're like, as powdered asbestos, because, you know, hey, we use it in brake pads in cars. They're like, yeah, use that. I mean, look at the type of abuse that has to handle and the mileage that has to endure. So there's a reason why a lot of these that have 40, 50 years on them are still close to the factory diameter because they have that in them and it cuts the wear rate down. Now, inversely, it does make them slide a little bit. These are kind of like a vulcanized rubber clay type of thing, you know, and with a, you know, I got to look at the patent again. And it's even then it's not super specific, but there's 20 to 25% powdered substrate we know is asbestos. So do not try to shave these or sand these down. You will breathe it in, and in 10 to 15 years, you will get lung cancer. Okay. You would never huff or sand or you take an air blower to a set of brake pads on a car because you could breathe that in. Why would you do that on this? All right. So how do these skate? Well, the cool thing is these things will slide. They are freaking death traps. This is a real clay wheel and it gives no dams at all. This thing takes heads. It doesn't matter if it's yours or something else. Wherever you point it, it's not going. But that's the fun part with these because it does everything you tell it not to. So that's the challenge. That's really fun. These will actually have traction until you generate a hard side load like hard edging, hockey stopping, things like that. And then it will break free, even on some of the tightest floors. I really love these wheels. I love these wheels to death. I always got a set, always will have a set. But here's the thing. A lot of people freak out over these. I'm going to teach y'all a secret. Everybody freaks out over these and they're like, orange Vanathane rental wheels. Oh my God. But here's the thing. If you find other Vanathane wheels from back in the day, they are still the same thing. They're still the same formula. They were pressed by the same factories, and then they would contract the wheel out to other companies. So Chicago had one that was labeled Chicago Vanathane. It's the same compound, and it was also made by Vanguard Wheels. These different companies would get a hold of Vanguard, and they would say, hey, we want to order these wheels in this color. We want them to be Vanathane. This is what color we want our graphics to be. And then Vanguard would make an entire batch or lot of them and then sell them to another factory. Like Roller Derby had some Vanathane wheels back in the early 80s. Chicago had some Vanathane wheels back in the late 70s, early 80s. And they were all made by Vanguard. And you could tell because of the stamps in the back. So when people say, well, the Chicago ones, the white 77K, it doesn't do as well as this. It's the same compound. The only difference is the color and maybe even the size, but it's the same compound. It's a placebo effect. Just like buying expensive skates and people think it's going to make them a good skater. I said it. Come for me. Subscribe while you're here. All right, let's see. Thanks for the info. I really appreciate the fact you always answer my question no matter how old your video is that I comment on. You bet. All right, rolls right, LOL. Yes, sir. Jarek Simp, what happens if I mount the Avenger instead of the Sporty? Hold on. What's the Sporty? I don't know. Wait, Avenger? Okay. Okay, you hate the Avanti? Oh, look, the Avanti and Avenger series are both really heavy, even if you get the magnesium version. The magnesium version is actually, it's lighter, and it says it's 20% lighter. But the weights, because I did some weighing on them, and I checked it against their weight chart from the factory, And the weights for that they published for the aluminum versions were actually the weights for the magnesium versions. But yes, it was about 15% lighter. They're still pretty heavy. What happens if you mount to the Avenger? A hell of a lot of steering, I tell you that. That hard lean you do, you're going to take a circle. If you were looking overhead at you doing a hard corner and going in a circle without pushing off. At hard lean, you do over like this. Okay, it's gonna go from this on the Avanti to this on the Avenger because it turns tighter at the same angle of lean. Okay, at the same angle of lean, this one turns tighter, and that's because of your kingpin angle, and that actually changes your action angle. Okay, I hope that helps. All right, let's see. I like them a little better. Had to put the blue soft sure grip cushions to get them to turn better. The blue is I believe 78A. If y'all haven't, go check out my sure grip super cushion video where I actually demonstrate how each one of them works by putting each and every full set on. I do a set in red, and then I do a slalom. I do a set in yellow. I do a slalom. I do a full set of purple. I do a slalom and a full set of blue, and I do a slalom. So you can see the demonstration about how all these cushion hardnesses affect any plate. It's on here. It's a review of the Sure Grip Super Cushions. It'll have me and some cushions. It'll say, what is a sorcery? Yo, go check that one out because that one was a big hit with people. Apparently, nobody had ever done that. All right. Let's see. I like them a little better. Oh, sorry. Roll's right. Who produced those FM wheels? Roll Fiber. Rink's just curious about FM. FM. Are we talking about the Vanathane? The Vanathane wheels were produced by Vanguard Wheels. Okay. Now, okay. Hold on. Roll's right. Yo, check this out. Check out Ricardo Lopez. Look at this right here. Ricardo Lopez. I got OG All-American Plus and some White Crest Vanathane. Was wondering if they feel the same. The sizes are actually going to affect the feel on that as well as the hub because the All-American Plus, actually, no, you're right. Okay, so the All-American Plus OG ones didn't have the hub. But here's the thing. They were different sizes a little bit, and the White Crest Vanathanes, and all that, if they feel the same, here's the thing. Oh, go with the short center mount, by the way, Jarek Simp. Go with the sport mount, the short center, just one size down. That's it. That's it. And tell me that isn't just life-changing. Okay, so the Crest Phase 4s, all of those, obviously the Vanguard Vanathanes, the Chicago 77Ks, the OG All-American Pluses, all that, they were all poured by Vanguard. Vanguard made them for everybody else. Like there was, and that was the last update I got is that they made all of those, and then they were rebrands. They would contract them out to different companies, and companies would buy them. Basically, Vanguard was just the maker of the wheels, and people could order them with their logos on them and resell them. All right. Is there a version of Vanathane wheels that you recommend? Honestly, any of them. No, really, any of them. But make sure they're the real deal. If you're buying brand new right now, they're not Vanathane. When like the Sure Grip stuff, when they say, hey, Ball family, by the way, if you guys ever see this, the Ball family that runs Sure Grip, please don't come for my head when I say this, but you and I both know, guys, okay, over there at Sure Grip, just a word between you and I, we both know that I know you're using Vanathane technology, but we both know that you're not using the substrates that they did because of EPA regulations and stuff like that. And I know that you have to change that composition. I understand that, just like you had to do with all your other wheels, and so did every other U.S. wheel maker. But what they're making over there isn't the same. So any vintage Vanathane, if it's been used hard and you could tell, yeah, get those. If you get on eBay, here's a tip. Here's a secret. Get on eBay. Go look for vintage Chicago skates through eBay. You find a bunch of them with Vanathane wheels. Those are real Vanathane wheels. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, there's a good chance you're going to wind up with some white Chicago Vanathane 77Ks. Guess what? Those were made by Vanguard as well. And that's a Vanathane wheel. There you go. A real Vanathane wheel is a real Vanathane wheel. Period. Anything else is placebo effect, unless it's a different size. Different diameters and different widths will affect the traction and the breakaway points and everything else. Oh, Fomac, my bad. Okay, let's see. Jarek Simp got it. Rolls right. Is the a mode stiffer than the V-line or about the same? It actually is slightly stiffer than the V-line, especially in the heel cup area. Jarek Simp watched it. That's why I bought the blue. Yeah. All right, Fomax. As far as the Fomac comparing to well, okay, so the original Fomax, Fomac used to be its own separate company. It started in about 1954. They did have a line of about I think about a year or two in to them owning their company. They had up to 8 different wheels that were available. There were like 8 different wheels that were available, and they all kind of had different thresholds. But here's the thing about the Fomax, okay? They were clay. The Fomac wheels were clay. Some of them had some walnut shells and stuff like that, but they all had slightly different hardnesses. What they would do is they would take the ratio of the substrate versus the actual chemical or clay, and they would change those percentages to give it a different grip and hardness threshold. Since then, when with the invention of the urethane wheel, the popularity of Fomax actually decreased and almost died completely until SureGrip, doing what they do best, bought out the company and started manufacturing them at a low volume for years and years until rhythm skating became popular again in the early 2000s, around 2006, because of roll bounce. And then everybody decided they wanted to dust off their old skates. And all the old guys were like, yeah, you got to have Fomax. They were telling the young guys, got to have Fomax. So people were buying them. And then SureGrip was like, okay. And they bumped it up. And then they introduced harmonies. And they did all this other stuff, slicks, Minimax, things like that. But they used to have all kinds of different wheels. Fomac used to be their own company. SureGrip bought them out. They changed the formulas, EPA regulations. All right, let's see. All-American Plus is softer than All-American Dream. Here's the thing about the All-American Plus and the All-American Dream. The only difference between the two was actually the inclusion of a aircraft aluminum hub, which actually caused or created a precise bearing alignment, because that's just what aluminum hubs do. So without that, you could have one bearing that's off slightly, and when it rolls, it does this, and it binds the bearing up, and it also scrubs speed. And also the other thing is when you actually take material out of the center of the wheel and you put something harder inside of it, you actually increase the shore hardness a little bit, which is what it's called on the durometer scale, shore hardness. You actually increase that because it's less bunching up that the wheel can actually do as it rolls. Because as a wheel rolls, the face of the wheel will actually bunch and bundle up at even a microscopic level. Once you put something harder than urethane inside of it, it actually stiffens it up. So the All-American Dream will actually appear softer, but it is actually the same exact compound. Here's the thing, though, and this is one thing. If you take an All-American Plus and you actually have the hub machined out of that, and you have another aluminum hub put in it, even if it's not the same one as the Dream, if you put an aluminum hub in there, it's going to behave the same. In fact, if you even put a larger diameter one inside and cut that tire down even further, there's even less rolling resistance, and then it'll actually be harder or skate as if it's harder than an All-American Dream. Jarek Simp will do. Rolls right. Have used both sets to slide. Me too. All right. Haven't measured them though? Oh yeah, you got to. Please do. If you got a durometer and you're going to you're going to hit me with those Duro numbers, I would love that. Please do report back with that. And let's see. By the way, I've been shipping all my skates to Skate Rats for mounting. Any recommendations? Because I live here in Houston, Texas. Jarek Simp. Hey, buddy, I live in San Antonio, and I don't know if you've seen my Instagram. Everybody check that out. My Instagram is at its.tj.forreal. On Instagram, I build skates, and I'm in San Antonio. Dude, come on, man. Come on. You know what to do. Send them over here. I got you. Plus, I've been looking for an excuse to go over to Houston again anyways. I ain't been out there since the roundup. Ricardo Lopez, I enjoy a bunch of old school wheels, Vanathane, fiberglass, Fomac. You know what? They're all really fun for different applications. I don't stick to one thing. If I feel like sliding, I'll put some stuff on. I'll put quad tights on or something, and I'll go do it. If I want to go to a park, I'll put on like some medallions or Rollerbones teams or something else, and I'll send it. If I jam skate, it's gonna be anything like these old Mayhems, these new Deluxes, or even these new Deluxes that came out last week, which are super dope. This is a colorway I wanted, and I got it, and it's dope. These were cool though, and I mean, I love it. Okay, the guy who cuts the machines. You're talking about Nathan Edwards out there in Virginia. That's one of my buddies. He's actually an old friend of mine. I do know him. I know him very well. I knew him before he got famous for doing all that. Can do Vanathanes safely, so I'm gonna have hubs put in 4 sets of. Yeah, do it. I've known Nathan before the skate scene knew him. You know, before he was fiddling with all the Vanathane stuff, and everybody, he got real famous off of doing that. I've been friends with him for a while. He's got Jam Physics shirts and stuff like that. So I mean, he was in on the struggle. He was around during the struggle. And what I'm talking about is, I mean, you know, before roller skating was popular. And that's just, there you go. The soul of the a la modes versus the soul of V-Line. Is there a difference? There's an absolute hell of a difference. Yeah, the soul. Yeah, no, I got you. There's an absolute hell of a difference in this soul. It's not even the same material. If you could tell, it's got a printed texture to it. But here's the most beneficial thing. This sole, even without the plate, is actually stiff compared to the V-Line. The V-Line, without a plate on it, you can actually twist it around. This one, you really can't do that a lot at all. It is infinitely stiffer sole. Again, the sole. If you do that on the bottom of V-Line, it's not making that sound. This is hard. This is hard. Yeah, it's a stiffer sole than the V-Line. And then, you know, I mean, if you're doing hard edging, this is a better boot than the V-Line. I'm sorry, but I like this so much better. I like the tapered tongue right here. You can see how it kind of flares out right there, and it flares out right here, and it keeps this from sinking down in. See, it's a little harder to push that down in there, and it also makes it harder for it to twist, because this acts like a tab that keeps it from going down in. Yeah. I had 3 V-Lines, and this is my first set of these, and I bought it as a boot only. And I did all the poking and prodding and obviously the drilling and everything else. And the V-Line, a drill bit goes through it like freaking butter real fast because it's a much softer sole. I want to say that sole is possibly made out of ABS plastic. I don't know what this is, but this is harder, way harder than even the stuff they're putting on the lollies. This is like the stuff they're putting on like a 120. So it is considerably stiffer sole. And it is very much more twist and torque resistant. I'm going to sign off of here. This is the longest. By the way, I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. I got some more interesting stuff. We're going to go over Pilot Falcons, and we're going to talk about plate costs and a bunch of other things, and getting the most bang for your buck for a set of plates if you're buying aftermarket on our next one. I want you to stop in. Love everybody for tuning in. And, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Come check me out on Instagram, especially for my Houston skater over here that's sending their stuff all the way to Colorado to get mounted. Just either come down here to me or to the Rollercade in San Antonio, because I'll still build it. I do all their builds. And go to my Instagram at its.tj.forreal and go check that out, because I got tons of the mounts I've done for customers on there. I've been building skates since about the mid-90s. I've been skating since 85, and I've been competing since the early 2000s in jam skating. Next week, if you're in Texas, please come all the way out to Dallas area. We're going to be at Westlake, skating at Westlake in Dallas. That's going to be the grand finals for Social Skate. I'm going to be there. I'm in the top 5. I'm a top 5 contender for Shuffles event and Grandmasters event. It's going to be a hell of a show. So y'all come tune in, visit me, check me out on Instagram, subscribe, share my stuff. I do this for y'all. I do this to educate skaters, because I'm going to cut it to you real, and I'm going to tell you all the stuff that the dealers aren't going to tell you, because I don't make anything from this. This is TJ signing out. Y'all take it easy, all right? Happy skating. Peace.